Tamar in the Bible was not an ambitious character, at least not at first. She was just an innocent Jew married into the family of Judah, who at the time had 3 sons. But little did she know that this marriage was not just going to end in disaster for Judah's family, but it would lead to one of the 7 deadly sins: lust. A sin that would cause the downfall of her father-in-law, Judah, and threaten the peace of the entire kingdom. As we begin the story of Tamar and Judah from Genesis 38, please support this channel by clicking on the like and subscribe buttons on your screen. Firstly, it's crucial to note that the Tamar we will discuss should not be confused with another Tamar from the Bible. Tamar, the daughter of King David, has her own heart-wrenching experience found in 2 Samuel 13. While both women share a name and experience great injustice, their stories happen differently and with distinct lessons. For instance, the story of Tamar, King David's daughter, is a troubling one that showcases the dire consequences of unchecked lust and the resulting betrayal. Tamar was the beautiful sister of Absalom and the half-sister of Amnon, David's eldest son. Amnon became infatuated with Tamar to the point of obsession. With the help of a deceitful friend, Amnon pretended to be ill and asked Tamar to come and prepare food for him. When she arrived, he lured her into his bedroom, overpowered her, and raped her, despite her pleas and attempts to reason with him. After the assault, Amnon's infatuation turned to hatred, and he callously cast Tamar out of his house. Tamar, devastated and dishonored, tore her robe and put ashes on her head, mourning the atrocity committed against her. Absalom, her brother, took her into his home, but the trauma and disgrace she suffered remained with her. King David was furious when he heard what had happened, but he did not punish Amnon. This lack of action further exemplifies the consequences of failing to address grievous wrongs. Absalom, seething with anger, eventually took matters into his own hands and had Amnon killed, leading to a series of tragic events that further tore apart David's family, all because of unchecked lust. But our primary focus today is on Tamar, the daughter-in-law of Judah. As we've discussed, her story is one of courage, resourcefulness, and ultimately, justice. Tamar's bold actions were a response to Judah's failure to uphold his promise, and her story teaches us about the importance of integrity, the dangers of lust, and the power of humility and redemption. Let's see how the story unfolds. Our story begins with Judah, one of Jacob's 12 sons. After the events involving his brother Joseph, Judah decides to leave his family and start anew. He heads to Adullam, where he befriends a man named Hira. Now, Judah wasn't just any man. He was one of the key figures in Israel's lineage. But like all of us, he had his flaws, and his journey was full of challenges and moral tests. Judah's departure from his family was an attempt to escape his past. But as we will see, running away doesn't resolve underlying issues. Sometimes facing our problems head-on is the only way to overcome them truly. In Adullam, Judah meets a Canaanite woman, Shua's daughter, and marries her. They have 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. As time goes on, Judah arranges a marriage for his eldest son, He chooses a woman named Tamar, and this is where the story starts to take its uneventful turn. Judah's role as a father and his decision-making set the stage for the events that follow. It points to the fact that our choices, especially those involving family and relationships, carry significant weight. Unfortunately, Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord put him to death. This left Tamar as a widow, and in those times it was the duty of the next brother to marry the widow to continue the family line. So, Judah told his second son, Onan, to marry Tamar and fulfill his duty to her. Onan, however, didn't want to produce offspring that wouldn't be considered his own. So while sleeping with Tamar, he did so deceitfully, just to make sure that Tamar would not get pregnant. This act of selfishness and deception displeased the Lord very much, and the Lord also put Onan to death. With 2 sons gone, Judah was left with one, Shelah, his youngest. Judah promised Tamar that she would marry Shelah when he grew up. But Judah was afraid that Shelah might die too, so he didn't keep his promise. Tamar was sent back to her father's house to wait until Shelah grew up. Judah's failure to fulfill his promise to Tamar created a cycle of mistrust and set the stage for further complications. See, sometimes the little promises we break can lead to more significant issues down the line. Time passed, and Tamar realized that Judah was not going to fulfill his promise, and he did not have any intention of giving her his youngest son, Shelah, as a husband. In those times, a widow without children or a husband was highly vulnerable. Tamar's future looked bleak, as she was left without protection or prospects. However, Tamar was not one to sit idly by while others decided her fate. She decided to take matters into her own hands. She devised a daring plan, one that would require both courage and cunning. Hearing that Judah was going to Timnah to shear his sheep, she seized the opportunity. Tamar disguised herself as a prostitute, covering her face with a veil, and waited by the roadside. This was a risky move, as it could lead to severe consequences if discovered. Yet, Tamar was determined to secure her future and ensure her rightful place within Judah's family. As Judah approached, he saw the veiled woman and did not recognize her as his daughter-in-law. Genesis 38:15-16 says, "When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. Not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her by the roadside and said, 'Come now, let me sleep with you.' 'And what will you give me to sleep with you?' she asked. 'I'll send you a young goat from my flock,' he said. 'Will you give me something as a pledge until you send it?' she asked. He said, 'What pledge should I give you?' 'Your seal and its cord, and the staff in your hand,' she answered. So Judah gave her his seal, cord, and staff, items that were unmistakably his and held great personal significance, and slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. While Tamar's actions are not very pleasant, they show her determination and courage. She refused to be a passive victim of her circumstances and took bold steps to secure her future. Her actions teach us the importance of taking control of our destiny, even when the odds are against us. After the incident, Tamar took off her veil and put on her widow's clothes again. Meanwhile, Judah sent the young goat by his friend the Adulamite in order to get his pledge back from the woman. But he did not find her. He asked the men who lived there, "Where is the shrine prostitute who was beside the road at Enam?" "There hasn't been any shrine prostitute here," they said. So he went back to Judah and said, I didn't find her. Besides, the men who lived there said, there hasn't been any shrine prostitute here. Then Judah said, let her keep what she has, or we will become a laughingstock. After all, I did send her this young goat, but you didn't find her. Some 3 months later, Tamar was conceived of a child, and her pregnancy became very obvious. Word about this reached Judah, his father-in-law, and he was outraged. He saw this as a scandalous act of immorality, bringing shame upon his family. Judah ordered that Tamar be brought out and burned to death, the punishment for such an offense at the time. Here, Judah's judgments reflects a hypocritical double-standard lifestyle. He was quick to condemn Tamar without understanding the full context of her actions. This moment shows how easy it is to pass judgment on others without really considering all angles of a case. Judah, who had slept with a prostitute, was now ready to punish his daughter-in-law for perceived immorality. As Tamar was brought out to face her punishment, she revealed the items Judah had given her as a pledge, his seal, cord, and staff. She sent these to Judah with a message, I am pregnant by the man who owns these. Judah immediately recognized his belongings and understood the situation. Judah's act was driven by momentary desire without considering the consequences. Now faced with undeniable evidence, Judah came to a dreadful realization. He acknowledged his wrongdoing, stating, she is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah. This admission was significant. Judah recognized that his failure to fulfill his promise had led Tamar to take such drastic measures. Judah's acknowledgement was more than just a confession. It was a moment of humility and redemption. By admitting his fault, he showed growth and a willingness to take responsibility for his actions. This realization marked a turning point for Judah, leading him to reassess his behavior and seek a path of righteousness. For Tamar, Judah's acknowledgement vindicated her actions. She had taken a significant risk to secure her rights, and now her courage and determination were recognized and validated. Judah's realization teaches us the importance of humility and the power of admitting our mistakes. By acknowledging his wrongdoing, Judah began a journey of redemption. This act of humility can lead to personal growth and the healing of relationships. It also highlights the importance of standing up for justice, as Tamar did, even when it means taking significant risks. Tamar eventually gave birth to twins, Perez and Zerah. Perez would go on to become an ancestor of King David and ultimately Jesus. Tamar's story, though not without difficulty, ended in redemption and honor. Tamar's courage and determination led to her redemption. Her story teaches us that no matter how dire our circumstances, we can rise above them with courage and integrity. The story of Tamar and Judah offers beneficial lessons on human nature, justice, and morality. Tamar's bold actions and Judah's eventual humility and acknowledgement of his faults provides us with insights into taking control of our destiny, the dangers of hypocrisy, and the importance of humility and redemption. As we think about this ancient tale, let's remember to be resourceful and courageous like Tamar, to avoid quick judgments and hypocrisy, and to seek humility and redemption like Judah. This story reminds us that no matter the mistakes we make, we can always choose to grow and seek a better path. Moreover, the story of Judah and Tamar is a moral one that warns against the dangers of lust and the importance of integrity, responsibility, and self-discipline. It reminds us that our actions have consequences, but also that redemption is always possible. So as we live our lives, let's strive to make choices that honor ourselves and others, and never give in to the fleeting temptations that can lead us astray. Thanks for joining me on this journey through Genesis 38. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Stay curious, stay thoughtful, and see you next time.